And we are the two of us.
Two of us. So everybody, welcome back to Hart Talks. I've got a very special guest today. I'm still in San Francisco, so I couldn't be here and not interview my friend Nello. Now Nello, welcome to Hart Talks. It's lovely to have you on the show.
The pleasure is mine.
I was thinking the other day I was going to introduce you, and I just thought, I know you as Nello Calini, but I know there's going to be a lot more names, from your family. So what is your full title?
Nello Tullio James Francis Patrick Carlini.
Okay, and tell me about Tullio.
Tullio is my legal name in Italy. I was born in Italy, and when I was born, my mother called me Tullio, and that's why I'm registered in the town hall. My aunt, who was my godmother, changed my name at the baptismal font, and she called me Nello.
And she didn't tell your mother that?
She did not tell my mother this, so she brought me back, and my mother says, "And how's little Tullio doing?" My aunt, very superciliously, because she and my mother did not get along, couldn't stand each other. She says, "Tullio, ma che Tullio? His name is Nello." And so that's it. Nello is my baptismal name. Tullio is my legal name in Italy.
Okay.
I'm 93 years old.
93 years old.
Yeah.
And looking good.
Well, I was looking at myself in the mirror the other day, and I thought, really don't look great. Maybe I should have a facelift.
So, Nello, I want you to tell the viewers how we met.
Well, my friend, my nephew, Gemiliano, met this little trick called, what's your name again? Stephen. And he brought him over to the house, and we were introduced, and he sat at this table right over there.
This very table.
And we just hit it off beautifully. It was love at first sight.
It was.
It was that.
And that was 4 years ago.
Was it 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've been in contact ever since.
We have. So I wanted to ask Nello some questions today, just about his life.
I've taught for about 60 years, and I've never had a bad class. When I first started teaching, I didn't know what the hell I was doing in a classroom. And those poor kids didn't get much of an education. And I taught in a Jesuit school.
Right.
And I had never studied to be a teacher. In fact, I had studied to be a priest. And I was in the seminary. And I was there for a couple of years. And then I realized that was not the life for me, because I knew I was a gay man, and I didn't think that was a right thing to do. Though I know there are a lot of gay priests who are good priests. I mean, but the principal of the Jesuit school saw me, and he said, "We're looking for a teacher. Do you want to teach?" And I said, "Yeah, what the hell? Why not?" And I walked into a classroom, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I learned, though.
Yeah.
But then teaching has brought me all over the world. I've taught on Guam. I've taught in Turkey. I've taught in Libya. I've taught in Germany. I have lived in Italy. I've lived in Holland. I've lived in England. I've lived in Poland. I've traveled all over the world. I've been to China twice. I've been to Tibet. I've been to Vietnam twice. I've been to Cambodia. I know every country in Europe except the Baltic states. I don't know the Baltic states, and I don't know Finland. And I don't know Portugal. Those are the countries that I'd never been to in Europe, which was stupid of me. I could have gone to Europe when I lived in, could have gone to the Baltic states when I lived in Poland, and I didn't.
Right.
It was stupid of me not to do that. But when I lived in Poland, every time I got some time off, I'd go to Paris. That's it. And then I did a lot of directing, acting, I guess I was never really a serious actor, you know what I mean? I was pretty good. I got some awards for it, but no, I was really not a serious actor.
Tell me about the directing that you did. Tell me some of the
Yeah, well,
plays.
I directed uh, The Glass Menagerie,
Mm-hmm.
Arms and the Man, Antigone, Ring Round the Moon, The Lark. Those are some of the things I played, some of the plays that I directed.
And did you have a favourite out of those ones?
Yes, Glass Menagerie, I think, is probably my favorite play. Yeah, I joined the Peace Corps. I was 70 years old.
70.
Yeah. 92. Yeah, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd asked to be sent to Hungary because I had friends there. And I was sent to Poland instead, which I liked.
Right.
And then when I was there, toward the end of my stay there, I was mugged very badly. And in fact, a very strange thing. I was able to speak a bit of Polish by that time.
Yep.
And after the mugging, I was hit on the head, on the side of the head, and just this much away from being made a vegetable. I woke up and I was in the Wellington Hospital in London.
All right.
And they said, when I woke up, they said, "Do you know where you are?" And I said, "No." He says, "Well, you're in London." And I said, "You're in London?" And I said, "Really?" I said, "Oh, well," I said, "as long as I'm in London, would you get a hold of John Hosier?" And this is his telephone number. And David and Alan, and the doctor looked at me. He says, "You know, when they brought you in last night, we didn't think you were going to make it during the night." My hands were tied with telephone wire, and it compressed the nerve, and therefore this hand has lost about 65% of its function.
So let me change the subject, Nello. Obviously, how many years have you lived in San Francisco?
Since 1961.
Since 1961. So obviously, the AIDS epidemic for you, for myself, my generation, was staggering. But for your generation, for your time, for your friends, it must just have been unbelievable. And as time goes on, I think people are forgetting how bad it really was.
Yeah,
and
you can't tell them how bad it was because it's inconceivable. For example, I was the president of the Golden Gate Performing Arts, which is the umbrella organization for the Gay Men's Chorus.
Okay.
Well, practically every one of those gay men, about 200 of them, have died. If I kept a scrapbook of obituaries, it would be this thick. And they died so quickly. You know, you'd see someone one day, the next day he was gone. And you'd say, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then, of course, it really got bad because they would suffer, they would go through dementia, and I knew that because of my boyfriend, because he got AIDS, and he was bipolar to begin with, and then it went into schizophrenia, and so it was just horrible. No matter, it was really the plague. It was really a plague.
And you nursed your boyfriend, didn't you?
Oh yeah, his sister and I did.
So how do you think, Nello, in that time, how do you think people got through that AIDS crisis, that era? How do you think how did you survive? How,
you survive by living in denial. That's how you survive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I can understand.
You can't think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you go nuts.
You just have to carry on.
Yeah, you carry on. Yeah, otherwise you'd go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I was diagnosed, I thought, well, that's it. You know, this is the death sentence. Well, it wasn't. Well, I'm probably the oldest living survival. Not in years,
Right.
but
In age.
in age.
Yeah. So when were you diagnosed, Nello?
I was officially 1996, but probably I was probably positive from 1992.
Okay. And how have you managed that over the years?
Well, I was very fortunate because when I was diagnosed, the protease inhibitors came out. I wasn't long on AZT. That I was for a while, and then, but AZT was around even when my friend died, when Bob died, but he didn't fit the protocol, so they wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah.
And then also then AZT was, they thought it was the magic bullet, but it wasn't. And so people were getting more sick on AZT than they would with the regular.
Yeah.
And so fortunately I didn't have to go through that.